and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. NCAA Week 10. Whew. 9 weeks under our belt. Week 9, I was 9-5 win-loss, 7-7 against the spread, and 8-6 on the over-under, which brings the 9-week total of 138-47 win-loss, 85-97 against the spread, and 94-88 on the over-under. Have a few less each week. It seems like I'm doing less games. I'm doing more meaningful games. I'm doing games that affect the conference championship, which in turn can affect the Final Four playoffs. I have my top 6, who I think should be in the playoffs as of right now. Obviously, the official college football playoff rankings come out on Tuesday night. Do this video on Monday afternoon, so it'll be up before the college football playoffs come out. So the rankings I'm using for each team is based on last week's playoff rankings. So first game we got 13th ranked Virginia Tech Hokies at 7-2 versus the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets at 4-4. It's an ACC coastal matchup. Virginia Tech has 2 ACC losses this year to Miami and Clemson. They lost last week to Miami. With 3 games left, they need help. They need Clemson to lose, and they need to win out to have a possibility of making the ACC championship game. Virginia Tech is favored by 3 with an over-under of 52. I got the Hokies winning. I got them covering at 3 points. I'm taking over on the 52. Next, we have the 20th ranked NC State Wolfpack at 6-3 versus the Boston College Eagles at 5-4. Only 1 ACC loss for the Wolfpack. Now, they have lost 2 straight. They lost the ACC game to Clemson, and they lost to Notre Dame last week. NC State is favored by 3. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 60. Next, we have the Florida State Seminoles at 3-5 versus the 4th-ranked Clemson Tigers at 8-1. Clemson leads the division by 2 games over Virginia Tech. So with 3 games to go, Clemson's just got to win, and they'll ensure their way to the ACC championship game. Clemson is favored by 16. Now they're 6-1 in the ACC, and their only loss is Syracuse, so that could actually hurt them when it comes to the playoffs this year. That's a bad loss. Clemson favored by 16. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 47. Next, we have the 3rd-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish at 8-1 versus the 10th-ranked Miami Hurricanes at 8-0. I'm not behind Miami this year like a lot of people are. My issue is, yes, they are undefeated. Yes, they are 6-0 in the ACC. The problem I have is they've played 1 less game. Yes, I know. It's because of natural disasters, because of Hurricane, was it Harvey? No, Harvey was Houston. Irma. Because of Hurricane Irma, their week 2 got canceled against Arkansas State. Regardless, they played 1 game less. If they were sitting 8-1 right now, would everybody be as high on them if they instead of being 8-0? I don't know. I'm not. They're facing the 8-1 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame, the only chance that they have of making the championship 4 is to win. They get 2 losses, they're done. They don't have a conference title game. They'll be lucky to make it, since there is no conference title game for them. They'll be lucky to make it with the 1 loss. I am behind Notre Dame this year. They're favored by 3. I got them winning, covering. I'm taking under on 57. Next, out of the Big 12, we have the 11th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys 7-2 versus the 15th ranked Iowa State Cyclones at 6-3. The Big 10 killer this year. They beat Oklahoma. They beat TCU. Can they beat Oklahoma State? Well, Oklahoma State's favored by 7 points on the road in Ames. Both teams 4-2 in the Big 12. I'm giving Iowa State the 7. I got Iowa State plus 7, covering, under on the 61. They'll pull off the trio of victories in the Big 12 this year. Next, we have the 8th ranked TCU Horned Frogs at 8-1 versus the 5th ranked Oklahoma Sooners at 8-1. Both teams 1 loss in the Big 12, both Iowa State. Oklahoma favored by 7. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 6-6.5. Next, we have the Rutgers Scarlet Knights at 4-5 versus the 7th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions at 7-2. 2 Big 10 losses, for Penn State this year. They'll have no problem getting past Rutgers. They're favored by 30.5. I got them winning, covering. I'm taking over on the 53.5. Next, we have the 24th ranked Michigan State Spartans at 7-2 versus the 6th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes at 7-2. 5-1 in the Big Ten for both teams. Ohio State's favored by 15 at home. I got the Buckeyes winning. I got Michigan State covering. I got the Spartans covering the 15 and under on the 56. Next, we have the Iowa Hawkeyes at 6-3 versus the 9th ranked Wisconsin Badgers at 9-0. I was going to say something I forgot. You know, Wisconsin 6-0 in the Big Ten. Iowa 3-3 in the Big Ten. Wisconsin's favored by 12.5. I got them winning. I got Iowa covering and taking over on the 46. Next, we have the 7-2 Michigan Wolverines versus the 4-5 Maryland Terrapins. Michigan 4-2 in the Big Ten. We have Michigan favored by 15 on the road. I got them winning, covering over on the 51.5. Next, out of the ACC, we have number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs 9-0 versus the 14th ranked Auburn Tigers 7-2. Georgia 6-0 in the SEC. Auburn 5-1 in the SEC. Georgia favored by 2.5 on the road. What if? Go with me for this for a minute. What if Auburn beats Georgia? Is Georgia still the number 1 team in the country? You would have a 1-loss Georgia versus a undefeated Alabama for the SEC championship game. Can you have 2 1-loss SEC teams make the playoff 4? No one knows what the committee has never done. 2 teams out of one conference. Now they've had conference champions not make it, and they've had teams not playing in a conference game make it. But has any team, not that I know of, ever lost the conference championship game and made the playoffs? This could be the first year of the ACC. I don't think Auburn's going to beat Georgia, but what if? I got Georgia winning, covering the 2.5 and over in the 51.5. Next, we have the 2nd ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, also 9-0 versus the 16th ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs 7-2. Bama favored by 14.5 on the road, winning, covering over on the 50. And last but not least, we have the 12th ranked Washington Huskies 8-1 versus the 21st ranked Stanford Cardinals 6-3. Huskies 5-1 in the Pac-12. Stanford 5-2 in the Pac-12. Washington favored by a touchdown. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 49.5. Now, my playoff 7. I got 7 teams here who have a shot at making the playoffs. Decided to go top 7 instead of just the 4. I think I had 5 last week. Number 1, or let's start at the bottom. Number 7, Miami, 8-0. Still don't believe it. I know they're a great team. They're undefeated, but that one game they have not played. 8-1, would they still be as great? They'd still be, I think, in the top 10 for me, but number 5, I got Washington, the Huskies 8-1. Or sorry. Number 7 Miami. Number 6, I got Washington 8-1. Number 5, I have Clemson at 8-1. Number 4, I have Notre Dame at 8-1. Number 3, I have Wisconsin 9-0. Number 2, I have Alabama 9-0. And number 1, I have Georgia 9-0. So I got Georgia, Alabama, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, the top 4. And then I went Clemson, Washington, and Miami for my 7. So that will wrap up Week 10 of the NCAA. As always, thanks for watching the Urban Sports Show, and make sure you stay tuned for the first time ever, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series preview on Robert Sports Show. I've never done the Truck Series, the Lucas Oil 150. Stay tuned to Robert Sports Show for the first ever NASCAR Xfinity Series Target Galaxy 200 preview. And then also stay tuned for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Can-Am 500 preview. 2 races left to go in all 3 series in the playoffs. If you're a stock car fan, this is the time of year you like. You got 2 races left for each top 3 divisions in NASCAR. You have the cutoff at Phoenix in the next race for all 3 of them. You have the Final 4, the Championship 4 weekend in 2 weeks at Homestead in Miami, Florida. The Ford EcoBoost 200, 300, and 400. That mile and a half in Homestead. Great time if you're a NASCAR fan. It's the awesome time if you're an NCAA fan. You got the regular season kind of grind getting down there. You got playoff pictures in sight. You have the championship committee rankings already coming out. You have NFL, week 9 coming up. Stay tuned to Rubber Sports Show for that. A lot going on right now in sports. November holidays right around the corner. Just getting done with Halloween. So, as always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. And don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content. Woo!